Okay, before I start this video, it's going to have some serious topics. So if you are sensitive in any way to things regarding abuse and other things of that nature, I would click off now. And this is also going to be a very personal video of me sharing parts of my life that I don't really talk about. So if you are coming on here to hate or leave hate comments, I would just please get off, because this is something that I've been personally going through for a very long time. And this is going to be my overall message to the freshmen that are coming in to school. And I wanted to share this video because there have been so many teachers and counselors and principals and administrators and everybody revolves in the school that are just say all of these things, and that you should always be yourself and not care about what other people think and all these other things. But when it comes from a teacher, you don't really process it or register it or say things like, yeah, maybe I should listen to that. You kind of just brush it off and you're just like, oh, they don't know me, like I'll be fine. Like they don't know what it's like these days. And so that's the reason why I'm making this video to give some more insight from someone that's closer to the freshman's age in our school. As I'm making this video right now, I am a senior. And I have definitely learned a lot through these past 4 years of school. And so I just wanted to share some of these things. So I'm first going to start out this video by asking a question. How many of you have been a victim of bullying? I myself have been a victim. I have always not looked this way. I have looked very different in the past. In 6th grade, I probably weighed around 200 to 300 pounds. I had taken my really, really long blonde hair and chopped it to a chin-length bob and dyed it cherry red. And at that time, too, I was also considered goth or emo, and I would wear lots of black and lots of dark makeup. I got the typical high school bullying, like kind of bullying that you would see in high school movies. That's what happened to me in 6th grade. I would get shoved into lockers, I would get stuff knocked out of my hands, I would be called these horrible names like Cutter, and I was told to kill myself, and all of these awful things that have happened during that period. And during that time, I didn't understand why people didn't like me. And I knew that I was different because I liked different things than everybody else. But I was so tired of getting bullied and getting picked on that I wanted to change, and I wanted to be normal and be like everybody else, because I was so not okay. It got to the point where I didn't even want to go to school because I didn't feel safe. I did not feel like I was learning anything of value because I was so focused on not getting bullied and not getting shoved into lockers that I just didn't really pay attention. And so over the summer of my 6th grade year and going into 7th grade and going into middle school, I made a lot of drastic changes. I had developed an eating disorder, which I had from 7th grade up until my freshman year, in order to get down the weight, because I had tried exercise and eating right, and the results were not coming fast enough for me. I also got back to my normal hair color, and I started wearing different clothes that everybody else was wearing and that all the popular people were wearing in order for me to fit in. And even after that happened, I still didn't fit in with everybody else. I was still kind of considered that weird kid from last year that everyone thought it would be fun to pick on. But the only difference was that I was skinnier and I looked different than I did the year before. And because I was skinnier and I had gotten prettier by everyone else's standards, I started to get a lot of attention from guys. And I had never gotten attention from the opposite sex before, so I didn't know what it was like. And I felt good for a short time because I was like, all right, I'm finally getting to where I want to be, and I am starting to feel better. Like, this is great. I had my first boyfriend when I was 14. My first boyfriend was 18 and had been a convicted convict, which is definitely, looking back on it, the dumbest thing that I could have ever done. But not really knowing, like, the right and wrong with guys and dating and getting all this attention, I just assumed that it was going to be like every other normal relationship that I had seen in movies or read about in books. He turned out to be very abusive. He would throw me into the couch. He would call me all of these obscenities. And he would just physically and mentally abuse me in any way that he could. It got to the point where I would come home with bruises on my face, and I would have to lie to my mother about those bruises and say, oh, I fell at school, or something flew in gym class and it hit me in the face, and I'm fine. But I wasn't. I was a mess. I was scared. And after a few months, I had finally had enough. And I had told this person's parents, and he kind of left me alone after that. And he was put back into jail. Dealing with that and trying to fit in as much as I could, I started hanging out with the wrong group of people. And I would do really stupid things. And the people that I would hang out with would do drugs. And so in order to fit in, I started doing drugs, and I developed a drug habit. No serious drug, but still, I was addicted. I was addicted to marijuana, which sounds off. Most people are like, can't get addicted to it. Like, there's no really addictive products into it. But I was addicted to it in the way that all of the anxiety and all of the depression that I had developed had gotten so bad over the years that I would smoke every day when I woke up just to get through the school day. And then I would smoke again after school just to feel something that was not at all related to my anxiety or my depression. Sometimes I would do it just to feel nothing. Because at that point, feeling nothing at all was better than dealing what I was going through. And when I was 15, I was at a party and I had smoked some lace marijuana. And I was sexually assaulted. This is something that not a lot of people know about because no one wants to talk about that. No one wants to be known as that person that happened to. And when I had found out the next day, because I didn't remember anything, I had to find out from that person's best friend. Because they had come up to me and they were like, so I heard you and this person had sex. And I looked at him really confused and I was like, what are you talking about? I'm a virgin. I don't remember anything like that. And his face sunk. And he told me that this person had been doing it to multiple people, or had done it in the past to multiple people. And my heart shattered. I was broken. I felt worthless. And I wish that I would have told somebody, but I didn't. I was so afraid of what my parents would have thought or what my friends would have thought that I just didn't say anything. And I came to find out recently that that person is now in jail because of a similar occurrence that had happened. And I'm glad that he is. And I'm glad that that person had enough courage to speak out about it because I didn't. And I feel awful because if I would have told somebody or called the police, then it wouldn't have happened to other people. Around, I want to say February, April range of this past year, I finally decided to go to a psychiatrist because my anxiety and my depression had grown so much of the years of abuse and assault and harassment from people. I couldn't take it. I would leave school early, like every day, or I would ditch school, or I would get in trouble for these stupid things so I could just leave. I could leave school and I wouldn't have to come back for a couple days because I just couldn't take the anxiety that I had felt all around me. And when I had first made an appointment and I went in for the first time, the doctor talked to me for 5 minutes. And then he brought my mom in and sat her down next to me and looked directly at her and said, she has the worst case of major depressive and anxiety disorder that I have ever seen in my career as a psychiatrist. And my face dropped. And so I talked with the psychiatrist and I was put on a case study to try to see if these antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications that they were studying would help me and would benefit me. And so when they had to take my blood, they have to do that to try to compare the levels of your blood and compare the levels of the drug that you were going to be taking and seeing how it is affecting you. And I have always had a fear of needles, so when they had taken my blood for the first time, I was freaking out. And it got to the point where I started to have an anxiety attack. And there had to be a total of 6 doctors and nurses to hold me down. But being held down made my attack greater. And after we had gone home, my mother looked at me and she said, "There are only one of 2 reasons why you freaked out as much as they did when they held you down. Either you just don't like needles and it was just getting so bad because you just wanted to be freed, or you were sexually assaulted." And I just broke down into tears and I told her everything. And the worst thing was just seeing the look on my mother's face, because I know I should have told her sooner. But until you see the look on your mother's face when they tell you something like that, it's the most painful thing in the world, because no mother wants to hear that their daughter has gone through something like that. No one wants to experience that, and nobody wants somebody that they love and care about so deeply to go through that. And the amount of pain that she had felt for me was so much, and it was so difficult to bear. But at the same time, it was also a relief off my chest. It literally felt like a weight was lifted, because I'd finally gotten something out that I had kept in for 2 years. Didn't really tell anybody about. And I had this realization that I shouldn't care what people think, because me caring about what others thought of me had led to all of this that happened in my life. And I'm not mad anymore at anybody that was a part of that process for me, because it has made me the person that I am today. It has made me so much stronger and so much more responsible and just so much more mature. And it's weird to say, but I thank these people. Even though they did awful things to me, or they got me into doing really awful things, you guys made me who I am today. You made me a better person, and you made me realize that no one is going to care about me within the next 5 or 10 years. After you get out of school, no one's going to remember you. No one is going to care about you. So what's the point of trying to fit in with everyone else if they are just simply going to forget about you? I can't tell you half of the people that were my upperclassmen friends that got me into all these awful things that I still talk to on like a daily or weekly basis. I don't talk to any of them. I don't really even remember them. And I doubt that they remember me. And this is just my message to all of these freshmen, because I don't want anybody to go through what I went through. You literally feel like you're alone. Because of me trying so hard to fit in, I was in abusive relationships. I got a drug addiction. I was assaulted. I had anxiety and depression. I self-harmed and I tried to kill myself at least 4 or 5 times. Because I just felt so alone. I felt like nothing that I did was good enough. I couldn't get into the popular crowd, or the crowd that everybody likes, or everybody thought that this person was a great person. And it just ate and ate at me. And this is when I realized a couple years ago that no one is going to care about you. What's the point? And it wasn't until this past January, that I started to actually take action upon that. I remove toxic friends out of my life. I wear what I want and I do what I want to do because I am my own person, and if you do not like that, then you don't have to be a part of my life. And that's as simple as that. And that's how you guys should feel. You guys need to start focusing on yourself and make yourself happy, because if you're not happy, there's no way that anybody else is going to make you happy or fill that void that you feel. You need to learn to love yourself, because if you don't, there's no way anybody's going to be able to love you and fill that void that you have, because you don't have that self-love. And I am so happy where I am right now. I love myself. I love everything about myself, even all of my flaws, even my old scars from when I had self-harmed, because I can't change that. All of the things about myself are perfect for me, and I couldn't ask anything else. And I am now in a very healthy and loving relationship. And the feeling of that, because I've never truly had that, is absolutely amazing. And it's probably going to sound silly, because everybody in high school just wants attention and wants a boyfriend or wants a girlfriend or wants all of this, but until you find your self-love and self-appreciation and you are mentally okay, you should not try and be in a relationship with somebody, because it will not work out at all. And you will start to blame yourself, saying, why am I not good enough? Why did this happen? Why did this person break up with me? And until you can finally accept yourself for who you are, you will find true happiness, and you will find love and affection, and you will find a relationship, and you will find out your passions and your hobbies and your dreams and your goals and everything like that. But the main thing that you need to do is to focus on yourself and just be yourself. Don't ever try to conform to what society says. Don't ever try to conform to what the cliques are in your schools, or don't ever try to conform to anything that anybody says, and don't listen to anything negative that anybody says about you. You are good enough, you are loved, you are worthy, and you deserve everything in this world. It just makes me sad about all the things that I've had to witness and go through over these couple years. But I hope that this little message that I've made for you guys has helped, or given you some insight, or made you think. Just be like, yeah, that crazy girl in the video who's talking about her life and what she had to go through is right. Because there's no point in just trying to be what everybody else wants you to be. Because if you try that, you will be miserable. Focus on yourself and make yourself happy, and it'll be the best thing in the world, and you won't care about what anybody else thinks, because as long as you're happy, that's all that matters. Once you are happy, you can focus on giving everybody else love and affection and attention and all of these things that you want someone to give to you. But in order to give that to another person, it is not to receive it from that person. It is to give it to yourself first. And if anybody feels like they're going through anything remotely of what I have talked about, whether it's anxiety or depression or an abusive relationship or something, and you just need someone to talk to, just don't be afraid to try and reach out and to contact me, or to stop me in the halls if I am in school and you see me and you're just like, hey, I really need to talk to somebody. I saw your video, or I heard this about you and I need somebody to talk to. Is it okay if we have a conversation? And I will drop everything and I will absolutely say yes. Because I've lost so many of my friends to suicide, and I don't want to see anybody else take their lives because they don't feel like they're important. And I hope that this video got to you in some way. And I guess that's the end. I am sorry for this rant and this ramble, and if this didn't affect you at all, I'm sorry for wasting your time. But I hope that you guys had at least one takeaway from this video.